in September of 49 and China falling to the communists in August of 49 was a belief that internally in the United States there was spies. There were Soviet sympathizers. And Joseph McCarthy was a relatively obscure senator from Wisconsin. And what he did, and I think this is about 1950, he stood up after making a speech in West Virginia and said, I have here in my hand a list of 205 people who work for the United States State Department that are known members or sympathizers with the Communist Party. And so what resulted from that, or what that was a part of, was the Red Scare. The Red Scare was this kind of fanatical notion that within the United States there were conspirators who were in conjunction with the Soviet Union trying to take over. McCarthy is going to represent sort of the worst of that. He's a senator who has Senate hearings that calls people before him and inquires about their past associations, kind of trying to unveil the fact that they were sympathetic to the Communist Party and disloyal to the United States. Now, all that being said, what is the correct answer, dear Jessica? C. He definitely played on the fears that communists infiltrated the State Department and other federal agencies. I mean, that would be true. I haven't looked at the other responses. D. He used the televised McCarthy hearings to his advantage. That's pretty close. Army McCarthy hearings. Although the only thing I'd say about that, and this is kind of splitting hairs, is that's eventually what brought him down. And now that I think about it, what brought McCarthy down was when they did televise this, he appeared to be like a bully. And people, you know, kind of were shocked at how it actually transpired once it got onto television. So that kind of brought him down. So C is the correct response. Yeah, that sounds like what we've been saying. Any other questions on that page? Go ahead, Richard.
37.
Oh, we're going to go page by page, Richard. Yeah. See, we said that while you were chatting with Polly Metcalf. Yeah. Anything else on that first page? All right. How about the next page? 10 to 18. Take a look at those questions. Yeah, go ahead, Samantha. 16. Please turn your attention with me to 16. For American farming between 1929 and 1920, or 21 and 29, were a period of, if you remember, and you may not remember, but we did say this. We did say that during the 20s, the farming never recovered, right? That the farms never recovered from the slight recession that affected the country in 21. The farmers did not enjoy the same prosperity as the rest of the country between 21 and 29. So when the Depression hit, it only became worse. So your possible responses were a period of increase the size of farm population, rapid inflation of the price of farmland, definitely not that, low prices for agricultural products, increased government subsidization. Now, you probably don't know what that word means, subsidization, but subsidization is when the government pays somebody or provides some sort of economic incentive for someone to do something. So farming was not subsidized during that time. An increased number of small average, is C the right answer? Is that the right answer? Yeah. No. That was not, that was in the New Deal. That's 33. Yes. 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 All right, other questions on that page? Good. Amoya. 10 is the opening of the Erie Canal in 1825 was important. Now, I would say this. The AP loves that transportation revolution that occurred in the antebellum period. And in that transportation revolution that connected east and west, you had canal building, and then you had turnpikes, highways, bridges, canals, and eventually railroads that sort of improved transportation and created a national economy. A nation in a number of sense, but a national integrated economy because of that transportation improvements in that time. They love that. The Erie Canal is symbolic of that canal building phase. It's the most important and significant canal. It connected Buffalo with Albany, New York, and it widely was considered to open up what would be today's Midwest to New York City. It creates New York City. So let's see. Establish the role of federal government in internal improvements? No. It was entirely built by the state of New York. Strengthen the ties between Eastern manufacturing and Western agricultural region? Maybe. Made the invention of the steamboat more economically viable? I don't know that it required the canal for the steamboat to be economically viable. Spurred the innovation of the rail industry? Was the last major? Is B the right answer? Yeah, that's what I would say. What, Amalia, did you say?
I omitted it.
Pardon me?
I omitted it.
Oh, you omitted it? I would say that's true, that it connects what is today's Midwest at that time, which would be their West, the Mississippi River Valley, with Eastern manufacturers through the Erie Canal, back and forth. Yeah. That's the best answer. Other questions, the kids? Go ahead, Jason. 15. The primary function of the war boards during the First World War. So the war boards during the First World War we didn't talk about at all. So you could legitimately, in theory you were to have read that chapter in your book and you might have some familiarity with it, right? But we didn't mention this in class at all. So what do we think? The war boards organized economic activity during the war, increased cooperation between business, labor, and government. That sounds good. Encouraged the breakup of monopolies. I don't think so. I think they suspended antitrust laws at that time. Nationalized the banking system. I don't think that was the case either. Limited the influence of social scientists. That doesn't sound reasonable. Minimized the tax burden on lower. Is A the right answer? Yeah, that's what I would say. And I would do exactly what I'm doing. Sometimes you may have noticed that you go through and you have formulated in your mind the answer to the question, but then it's not there. All right? So you think, oh, the answer to this question is this, and then it's not there. But if you go down and systematically say, okay, it's not that one, it's not that one, kind of might be this one, it kind of might be that one, and then determine based on that what you think the best response is, the most comprehensive response is, and then take that guess. That's the way you're supposed to do it. You just aren't going to be well enough prepared to go down and say, oh, it's this, right? It's not always. Sometimes that's going to happen, but more often or not, you're going to be sort of going down and eliminating, and then coming up with, 2 viable options or 3 viable options, and then having to choose among them. If you can get 2 or 3 options, you're better off to guess. If you cannot, if you go through and you say, well, gee, I don't know any of this. I don't know this, I don't know any of these 5. Those are the ones that you should leave blank. Okay, anything else on this page? Anything else on this page? All right, how about the next page? We'll get to you, Richards, in a moment. 19 through 29. 19 through 29. Go ahead, Kelly KU. 19. The call for immediate uncompensated emancipation of slaves is associated with the position of the Free Soil Party, evangelical churches in both the North and the South. We know that's not true. The Free Soil Party might be tempting, but the Free Soil Party, the notion of free soil dealt with slavery spreading into the territories, right? Abraham Lincoln's debate with Stephen A. Douglas, at Freeport, no, Lincoln did not call for uncompensated emancipation. John Quincy Adams demands for the repeal of the gag rule. E is the obvious answer. This notion, the notion is that at some point there was a transformation among those who were against slavery from slavery being a necessary evil, right, to slavery just being evil and unnecessary. And so along the way, In the North, there was a faction of people that said, look, slavery is a moral evil and should be stopped immediately. It's not just something that we were stuck with and unfortunate. And Garrison is usually associated, William Lloyd Garrison is usually associated with this, sometimes it's called the immediatist position against slavery. So clearly in that one, The Liberator, which was published January 1st, 1830, by Garrison, is what's considered